Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons & Dragons 5th Edition, and we're going to specifically talk about how I think Magic the Gathering is going to have a much, much bigger impact than anyone expected in Dungeons & Dragons games going forward over the next 10 to 20 years. So, I do want to say thank you to you guys. I know people do not like me talking about Magic the Gathering and D&D. And I've been doing like my own survey, and I talked to Magic the Gathering players, and I talked to Dungeons and Dragons players, and they both hate each other, and nobody wants these two products mixed, except D&D corporate, except Wizards of the Coast corporate, and me. Even I was against this in the beginning. I think Ravnica was the worst launch to the melding of these two that you could possibly have done, and Theros. I'm actually starting to change my mind on Theros. Theros is a lot better than I expected. A buddy of mine recently got the physical book and put the physical book in my hands, and I started paging through it, and I was like, oh my gosh, the layout on this is pretty dope, right? And then I was like, Leonin are in here. Wow. There's the more I look at that book, I'm starting to think, actually, everything. I think the entire, Magic the Gathering mixed with Dungeons & Dragons, the two games having a symbiotic relationship, I'm very much warming up to it very, very quickly. But I know everybody hates this, right? So just want to say real quick, my channel is small and it's my own darn fault, right? Like, no one wants to hear this stuff. But the reason why I'm talking about it is I do believe in myself. And I get interested in things way before they hit the mainstream. And I just know I'm not wrong, right? And so... I was on MySpace, and my family was like, why are you wasting your time on this? You really think social media is going to be a thing? And I'm like, yeah, I think social media is going to be a thing. And this is when nobody knew, podcasts. I was on podcast day one. I was like, this is so exciting. And everybody's like, pod what? Today it's it's $100 million, hundreds of millions of dollars are being invested in podcasts, and just a million different things. I'm on way early, and I'm telling you right now, the future of Dungeons & Dragons is absolutely going to be threaded and braided with Magic the Gathering. So of course, Magic the Gathering Adventures in Forgotten Realms comes out. I have done a huge, it's taking weeks, right, for me to pull out all my old stuff and pull out all the cards that are Dungeons & Dragons specific that I can use in my Dungeons & Dragons game. And the thing is, here's why Magic the Gathering will have a massive impact on Dungeons & Dragons in the future, right? It's because of a confluence of fate in products, okay? So, Magic the Gathering came up, and Magic the Gathering has Dungeons & Dragons as a setting, right? It has had it from alpha, from set alpha. Magic the Gathering has been emulating Dungeons & Dragons, right? If you think this is crazy, like, Magic the Gathering comes out in 1993. Pete Atkinson gets millions and millions of dollars, and the first thing he does is he doesn't buy a yacht. He buys Dungeons & Dragons because he loves Dungeons & Dragons, right? Now, he did flip it 2 years later because he loves money even more. And honestly, I don't, Peter Atkinson buying Dungeons & Dragons is like Jay Leno buying a Ferrari. He did it with a genuine love and a genuine passion, but, he's got a life to live, and he's just one person. Jay Leno ain't going to start a car company, right? So that's where we're at. He was a collector. He picked up a shiny bauble, and he sold Dungeons & Dragons to Hasbro, which has worked out fantastically. It's been worked out amazingly well, and I think people in the industry who don't think that Hasbro was the right choice to sell Dungeons & Dragons to are just not paying attention. Look at the array of junk that lives in the rest of tabletop role-playing games, right? There's just, what other company would have been a better place for D&D to land? It's ridiculous. It's very clear that Hasbro has been an amazing guardian for Dungeons & Dragons. So, here's the thing. So, Magic the Gathering gets started, and the structure of their product, they have been delving into every aspect of Dungeons & Dragons iteratively 3 to 4 times a year for 1993, for 2093, from 2003, 2013, for 28 years. Okay? And that means they have about 30,000 cards that are all laser focused on what Dungeons and Dragons is, right? The majority of them are laser focused on what Dungeons and Dragons. Some of them are quite askew, right? So actually, in order to get the Dungeons and Dragons set out of the Magic the Gathering set, you definitely need to cull some cards out, right? But that leaves 10 to 15,000 cards that are Dungeons and Dragons specific, right? So here's the thing. You as a dungeon master are going to continue to just think up in your mind the best idea for a player character, right? And then you're going to describe that player character to your players. But what you could do is you could start a Magic the Gathering collection, right? And have literally thousands of examples of goblins, of humans, of elves, of every single class, of, and when you get the card, it is going to give you ideas that no other source, and definitely not books, are going to be able to give you for Dungeons and Dragons. The art is invocative, right? The art invokes ideas from you, like human cleric, right? Human cleric. There are 100 instances of a human cleric that are drawn and put into card form for you in Magic the Gathering, right? So if you simply collect the Magic the Gathering, the human clerics, right, you're going to have 100 instances of a cleric. So that, a dungeon master who doesn't use Magic the Gathering cards is just going to pull ideas out of their head, right? But one who does use Magic the Gathering is going to have 100 beautifully illustrated cards and they can pick the one that conveys and then hand that to the player characters. And once they hand it to the player characters, it can be used for experience. It can be used for a benefit. You could put it onto the table. You can use it for miniatures positioning. There's so many things you can do with it. Whereas your scrawled notes in a notebook are so much less powerful, so much less useful, and they don't move anyone the way art moves people. Art moves people. Art has been a part of Dungeons & Dragons from day one. And so to say that there's been this product that is a hair's breadth away from Magic the Gathering, there's a product that is a hair's breadth away from Dungeons & Dragons, right? And has art on every single card, right? Like, it's just so powerful. And I think that Magic the Gathering accidentally, I guess there always was a purpose. Peter Atkinson, I don't think he knew on day one that he was going to buy Dungeons and Dragons, but it wasn't an accident. Actually, it wasn't an accident that he bought Dungeons and Dragons, right? Peter Atkinson loved Dungeons and Dragons, right? And the product he has created is a rock solid platform to make your Dungeons and Dragons game stronger. And I'm so sorry. I know I'm the only person on the internet saying this. Everybody hates it, right? But I have come around on Theros. I'm coming around on the Ravnica book. And I'm coming around to what the WotC suit said. These two products are a marriage made in heaven. My game is getting much, much stronger by including Magic the Gathering. And I haven't even talked to you about the way that players can use these cards in the game. Dungeon players can use them. Dungeon masters can use them. It adds tons of art to the game, and it is the future of Dungeons & Dragons, and I really think that dungeon masters that are not using Magic the Gathering in their games are really going to lose out. And I also feel really good saying this because to go back and get the cards you need, they are outrageously cheap. Outrageously cheap. And there's an entire industry that will let you pick up the Magic the Gathering players' cards, which they consider trash, at pennies on the dollar. Pennies on the dollar. The collection I'm calling to you is outrageously cheap, right? Because it was never expected to be used for this purpose, right? But if you get on it now, you can build an awesome, amazing collection years before everybody else figures this out, right? And I'll tell you, like, miniatures, good Lord, are they going up in value. People are buying, like, Pathfinder sets for $600, and all of the old tabletop role-playing game D&D minis are just going through the roof. Get in on this now. Start your Dungeons & Dragons Magic the Gathering collection now. Go to Scryfall. That is a great place to search and see what's available. And you can just buy 100 cards, right? You can get yourself 20 NPCs, 20 monsters, 20 events, 20 spells, and 20 lands, right? You will not regret this decision. And I really think that going forward, Magic the Gathering is going to be a massive booster rocket on Dungeons & Dragons. It's going to make every game better. And we are just at the cusp of how to use these cards in ways that fundamentally transform the game, right? That's my opinion. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I know that a lot of people are not going to see what I'm saying on this, but it's my life, right? Like, I'm just ahead of the curve. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comments below, and I'm super humble. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking, subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.